We should be live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend, man. I didn't stream over the weekend, but I wanted to go live today, obviously, and I plan on going live probably every single day during the week. I might not talk to you guys on the weekend, but I do plan on being here Monday through Friday. So we're here to break down Monday's 4-game night slate, talk through it with you guys. Nothing's really changed since I made my video last night. There really hasn't been any news that's come out. I mean, we know Kyrie's out, but like Otto Porter got ruled out, but really that doesn't have too much of an effect. There's really been no bombs so far, and I don't think there really is going to be. So pretty straightforward 4-game slate. We'll break it down. We'll answer all your questions like always, guys. Thanks as always for tuning in. Andrew, what do you think about getting Luca, Harden, and Giannis into the same lineup? I mean, if you can make it work and you're not playing a bunch of crappy values, then yeah, for sure, go ahead. I mean, I never have problems getting studs into my lineups. It's just, what values are you playing to get those studs? If you're playing guys that are only going to play 15 minutes, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that. But it just depends on what values you're able to get with them. What's up, Noah? What's up, Christopher? Appreciate you tuning in, my man. Is there good enough value to do that, though? Yeah, that's the question, Ethan. I don't know if you can get all three of those guys in without playing some crappy value. Balled out this weekend on the NFL and NBA slates. Let's start off the week right. Let's do it, KJ. Glad to see you had some success over the weekend, my man. You always hear about 5-6x values for Draftkings. Do you utilize a value system like that for Yahoo, price versus fantasy points? Yeah, so Yahoo's system is it's a little bit different. Draftkings, you can say, I want 5x or I want 6x. So, if I'm rostering got 10K, I'm looking for like 50, 60 points. Yahoo, their pricing's so much different. It's like $54 for the most expensive player. Normally, the way I do it, I usually look for about 10 more points than their salary. So if a guy's $50, I want like 60 points. If a guy's $15, I want like 25 points. For the cheaper guys, I think you want a little bit more than 10. Whereas for the more expensive guys like Harden, even if you get like 55, 60, that's not bad. Whereas like, a $10 guy, I'm looking for at least like 20, 25. That's the way I do it, 10 to 15 points more than their salary. More so for the cheaper guys. Now, for the expensive guys, like $48, $50, I just really want them to get their price, their salary. So if they're $50, I'm looking for about 50 points at least. Hit that like button, fellas. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you all of you tuning in on this Monday. Just waiting to find out to see if they rest Porzingis. I saw Fantasy Labs tweet out they were keeping an eye on it, but for right now, he's not on the injury report, so he's expected to play. They said, we're keeping an eye on him, but he's not on the injury report, so he looks good to go. So for now, I'm going to assume that Porzingis is playing until we hear otherwise. Who do you like more, Harden or Kevin Durant? I think given the positions, I probably would rather roster Harden, just because power forward has some guys I like. I like Tate as a cheaper option. Obviously I'm really high on Giannis on this slate. I like Chris Boucher. I like Lauri Markkanen. Whereas, shooting guard, I mean, there's still guys I like at shooting guard, but not as many. I do like Oladipo quite a bit. They did add Oladipo to the player pool. When I made my video last night, he was not in the player pool, but now he is in the Draftkings player pool, and he's 7,500. But once you get past, like Eric Gordon, I like as well. But really, there's no one else I love at shooting guard outside of those two guys. So it probably would be Harden for me. I should have pulled up the numbers. I'm going to pull them up real quick so you guys can see. So last game, when Kyrie was out and Harden made his debut with the Nets, it was Harden and KD. They both had really big games. I'm going to pull up the game log from that game just so you guys can see their usage rates because they were pretty insane. So we'll select the date range. We'll do this real quick just so you guys can see. I was looking at it earlier and I want to show you guys real quick. So we're going to go to January 2021. We're going to go to Saturday 16th. We're going to run it. So this is when Kyrie was out on Saturday, and Harden made his debut. This was the numbers from their debut. So KD had a 38% usage rate on Saturday, averaged 1.55 fantasy points per minute. Harden had a 37.1% usage rate, averaged 1.91 fantasy points per minute. And then you look at everyone else. Everyone else was under a fantasy point per minute. Joe Harris had the next highest highest usage rate at 16%. Like, it's KD and it's Harden just like doing everything right now. If the Nets score, let's say 110 points tonight, you're probably getting 30 from Harden, 30 from KD, maybe even more. Like, they're just going to do so much while Kyrie's off the floor that I thought maybe when this team was fully healthy, it would be tougher to predict what kind of outings we're going to get from the two, but now that Kyrie's still out, I think it's going to be KD, it's going to be Harden putting up big games, doing all the heavy lifting. Like, they just don't really have anyone else. I mean, they have some good bench guys, but these aren't guys that are going to be, taking usage away from KD or Harden. Like Harris, Green, Bruce Brown, like these guys aren't going to take away usage from KD or Harden. Like, they don't have that bench guy like the Karis LeVert. They don't have him anymore. So, and they're going to stagger their minutes as well. Last game, Harden and KD, one of those two was on the floor at all times. So whenever KD would sub out, Harden would come in. Whenever Harden would sub out, KD would come in. I like both those guys tonight. I still prefer Giannis over them, but I think both KD and Harden are really good plays with Kyrie still out. What's up, Noah? Thanks for all you do, bro. You appreciate it. I appreciate that, Cornelius. Thanks for tuning in, my man. Who do you like more? Yeah, we talked about, I prefer Harden, just given the positional, but both are really good plays between him and KD. Is Thad Young viable now with Porter out? Yeah, Thad Young's definitely in play. Him, Patrick Williams, Lauri Markkanen, all those guys should see a little boost with Porter out. Obviously, Markkanen, not as much affected just because he's already going to play pretty big minutes, but I think the biggest beneficiaries with Porter out are definitely Thad Young and Patrick Williams. Now, Patrick Williams, he's kind of expensive on DK. He's $5,600, I believe. Like, even with Otto Porter out, I don't really want to play Patrick Williams at $5,600. But yeah, Thad Young, he's cheap, $3,800. We've been down this path before playing Thad Young, and we've definitely been disappointed at times. But the guy has upside when he gets minutes. It's a good matchup. It's a fast-paced game. I actually do like him quite a bit as a value play. I think he definitely gets a pretty nice boost with Otto Porter out. He's probably like the best guy to play under 4K right now. Like, there's not a ton of great punt plays under 4K. I would say Thad Young's probably the best one on the board right now. Will points still be accumulated in the early slate for the Miami-Detroit players with postponement? I have no idea, King Carter. I did not play the early slate. I saw that game was being pushed back to 8 o'clock. It seems like they're still going to play the game, though. So as long as the game gets played today, the points will occur. Like, you'll get points for the players in that game. But if it gets postponed, if they don't play the game today, then yeah, you're in trouble. But right now it seems like they're going to play it. But I didn't play the early slate, so I don't want to give you the wrong answer. Play both Gordon and Oladipo. Yeah, I think you could definitely do that. I have no problems playing both those guys together. Especially like Gordon. Gordon is still so cheap. He's only $5,200. We've seen the usage bump that he gets with Harden. When Harden's out and he's obviously no longer on the team. When Chris Paul was out last year or the year before that, when Westbrook would miss games, like, it would just be Eric Gordon getting a big usage rate or usage bump. He'd play more minutes. He'd have the ball in his hands more. He'd take more shots. I always like to play Eric Gordon when, one of those star guys are out. And obviously with John Wall out tonight, Gordon definitely benefits. On FanDuel, Harden is $200 less than Durant. Would you go with the lower price guy? I'd probably still play Harden there. I mean, it all comes down to the positions, but I'd probably still take Harden. I assume that Durant and Giannis are the same position on FanDuel, so I'd probably rather play Giannis over Durant. How'd NFL go for you? It didn't go great, Dicey. I went all in on Michael Thomas, so that should sum it up for you. Had some many good lineups that got ruined. Yeah, Michael Thomas. I mean, who could expect Michael Thomas would put up a donut in a playoff game, especially against in a high scoring, or what was expected to be a high scoring game against Tampa Bay, and Michael Thomas literally goes catchless. Crazy, man. The playoffs, man, they have not been good to me. Like John Brown and the week before with his 0, like Cole Beasley put up a 0. Like, so many guys have just been randomly just doing nothing, like randomly busting. Cole Beasley 0, Gronk 0 last week, John Brown 0 last week. Obviously Ronald Jones was an inactive and we had no idea. This week Michael Thomas with his 0. It's crazy. You think Luca's still a great play in back-to-back? Yeah, I have no problems with Luca on a back-to-back. I mean, the dude's young, so I think he's fine. He's played on back-to-backs this year. He's played on back-to-backs since he's been in the league. Giannis goes off tonight with everyone saying Brooklyn is the team to beat. He's going to be out for blood. I mean, yeah, I could see that, definitely. I think that's going to be a great game to watch. I'm definitely going to have to tune into that one. Harden or Luca today? I mean, between the two, I'd probably still give the edge to Luca, but I do like Harden more now that Kyrie is out. Because we talked about it earlier, with Kyrie out, it's just going to be Harden and Durant doing everything. So would you take both Harden and KD if we can pay for both? I mean, I probably wouldn't play both in the same lineup, because if you're doing that, then you probably want to have someone on the Brooklyn side or on the Milwaukee side. And if you're playing someone on the Milwaukee side, I would probably want Giannis. And I just don't think you're going to be able to get Harden, KD, and Giannis in the same lineup. Maybe you could go Harden, KD, and Drew Holiday, or Harden, KD, and Chris Middleton, but I probably won't have any lineups with both those guys together. With the Lakers being a good defensive team, can you fade that game? I mean, yeah, there's not much I like in the late night game. I think Curry's obviously in play. Draymond Green, I do like at his price point. I think James Wiseman's a little bit too cheap now that he's starting to get more minutes. But like on the Lakers side, there's really nothing I like from the Lakers today. Like I'm not going to have much exposure to the late night game outside of Draymond and Curry and maybe some James Wiseman. What's your thoughts on my lineup of Curry, Levine, Oladipo, Laurie, Boogie, Caruso, Jeff Green, and Morris? I mean, I wouldn't play I probably wouldn't play Markieff Morris. I probably wouldn't play Alex Caruso. I mean, Jeff Green's fine because he's been starting and playing pretty good minutes. Boogie he's always risky, especially now that, with Christian Wood healthy, Boogie's he's not going to get a ton of minutes. I mean, he's just basically been backing up Christian Wood this year. He's only probably going to play 18 to 20 minutes. I mean, it's a good matchup, but I mean, that's probably where I would, try and make some changes. Boogie, Caruso, Markieff Morris. Probably, I'm not the biggest fan of those three guys personally. Just got in. Do you like any players from the Brooklyn game? I mean, from Brooklyn, on the Brooklyn side, it's just KD, Harden, and DeAndre Jordan. Those are really the only guys I like from Brooklyn. On the Milwaukee side, it's definitely Giannis for me. I like Brook Lopez, but Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, just kind of, I'm not the biggest fans of them. So mainly from the Milwaukee-Brooklyn game. On the Brooklyn side, KD, Harden, DeAndre Jordan. On the Milwaukee side, Brook Lopez, and Giannis for me. Who is in play with Porter out? I think, Thaddeus Young might be the biggest beneficiary there. Patrick Williams should get a boost as well, but he's so expensive on DraftKings that I would much rather play Thaddeus Young. So, yeah, Thaddeus Young's probably the biggest beneficiary with Porter out. You like any cheap value at point guard? If you're talking DraftKings, we'll take a look. I don't think there's a ton of great value at point guard. I mean, Eric Gordon, if you consider him a value, I do like him at 5,200. But, yeah, there's no guys under 5K that really stand out at point guard for DraftKings. I mean, now on Yahoo, if you play on Yahoo, Jayshawn Tate, he's a point guard. I have no idea why. He's $12 on Yahoo, so I could definitely see playing him over there. I like him on DraftKings too. It's just weird that he's a point guard on Yahoo, which is not the position that he plays. Is Thad Young a top value? Yeah, we talked about that, Coley. I think Thad Young probably the biggest beneficiary with Porter out, and he's really the only guy that stands out to me under 4K tonight, at least right now. Now, obviously, things could change, but for now, Thad Young seems like the best punt value. Drew Brees went through hell yesterday, and his DraftKings score proved it, 6.66. Yeah, tough way to go out for Drew Brees if that's going to be his last game. You hate to see it, man. You think Lopez brings Jordan away from the basket since he can shoot threes? Yeah, that's obviously a concern. I mean, Jordan's fantasy value comes from rebounding. When you get big DeAndre Jordan games, it's because he grabs 16 rebounds. So, yeah, I mean, you're probably right there, Andrew. That's definitely a little bit of a concern, but they really don't have any other bigs. I mean, Jordan should play 28 to 30 minutes if this game is close and if they decide to keep him out there. Now, sure, they can maybe go small and play Jeff Green at center, which I think is what they did some last game, but I do like Jordan. If he's going to play 26, 28 minutes, he can definitely pay off his price point because he's a productive player when he does get minutes. How many minutes do you expect for Reggie Perry? I mean, probably not enough to where I would want to play him. I mean, last two games, I don't think he's really gotten enough minutes to where I want to play him. I mean, 22 against the Knicks. I know he got kind of hot from the field that game. 13 last game. He's probably just going to back up DeAndre Jordan, so whatever Jordan doesn't play, let's say Jordan plays 28, then you'll probably get 20 from Perry, if that. He's just not a guy I'm really considering on this slate. What do you think of this lineup? Harden, Eric Gordon, Powell, Giannis, DeAndre Jordan, Forbes, Boucher, Thad Young. I mean, Bryn Forbes I'm not really on. I don't think I've played Bryn Forbes at all this year. I mean, I don't even know what he's been doing this season. I mean, yeah, he's going to play probably 16 to 18 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could always catch a random game where he gets maybe knocks down 4 or 5 threes, but the rest of the lineup looks good outside of Bryn Forbes, who I'm not the biggest fan of. Those $3,100, $3,200 guys that only play 16 to 18 minutes, I just don't play those guys. You never feel like you have to have them. Even if they put up a solid game, even if they have 25 points, you're still not going to have them to win a tournament. What do you think about James Johnson? If Porzingis plays, think they could limit Porzingis any? For now, I'm going to assume that Porzingis plays until we hear otherwise. But James Johnson, I think, is in play regardless. he's been getting minutes with Kleber out, with DFS out. Those guys are still out today, so I think we're going to get, probably 26, 28 minutes from James Johnson off the bench. I still like him even if Porzingis plays. KCP for value, 3,900. I mean, probably not for me. I just don't really play KCP. I mean, there's not really much from the Lakers I like at all today. I mean, let's take a look at what KCP's been doing. I mean, like 22 DK points, 27 DK points. I guess he's not the worst value play, but I think you probably get way more upside from Thaddeus Young, so I'd rather play Thaddeus Young for $100 less. Favorite Yahoo value besides Tate? If you consider Eric Gordon a value, I like him a lot at $14. Tate's obviously a good value at $12. Willie Cauley-Stein I still like. He's $11. So those are just a couple cheap guys I like, Robert, on Yahoo. Tate or Draymond? Give me Tate there, but I do like both. I think both are good plays on DraftKings for sure. Markkanen a good stud play today. I mean, I do like Markkanen. He's been playing well since he came back from COVID protocols. He's had 2 good games. I mean, he's been good this season. He was definitely like a big disappointment last year. Like Lauri Markkanen, I'd never rostered him last season because he rarely put up any good games, but he's been really good this season. Definitely has looked like, just a completely different player. He's getting the minutes as well. He's taking a ton of shots. He's been good, rebounding well. Against Houston, a good matchup, fast-paced game. Yeah, I definitely like Lauri Markkanen today for sure. He's probably like my favorite guy overall from the Bulls, especially on Yahoo. He's really affordable on Yahoo. Markkanen is. I'm torn between Cousins and Jordan. I mean, I think Jordan plays way more minutes, so I'd rather play Jordan. I mean, Cousins is going to be more productive, but I still feel better about Jordan. You like McLemore? Probably not unless he starts again, but I assume Houston's probably going to start Oladipo, Eric Gordon, Tate, Tucker, and Wood. So I assume McLemore goes back to the bench. But if he starts, then yeah, he's viable. Who's your favorite value and stud option on this slate? I mean, right now the best value probably looks like Thaddeus Young now that Otto Porter's out in terms of value under 4K. And then stud, I love Giannis, so Giannis is my favorite stud for sure. I don't hear anyone talking about Brunson. Dude has fresh legs. I mean, yeah, I don't know what we're going to get from Brunson. Like Trey Burke's been getting he's been getting great minutes off the bench. He's kind of been their sixth man lately. Is Brunson going to take minutes away from Trey Burke? Like, I have no idea. I mean, when Luca's been healthy this year, Brunson's only played like 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most. Like, he just doesn't get a ton of minutes when Luca's healthy. It seems like Trey Burke's kind of their, backup guard right now, the guy they want on the floor when Luca's not out there. So I'm probably not going to be on Jalen Brunson personally. We got on Bruce Brown tonight. I mean, probably not going to be on Bruce Brown. He went back to the bench last game, I believe, and he didn't really do much off the bench. I mean, even with Kyrie out, I don't think Bruce Brown's someone that we really want to target. Like, he played 24 minutes last game, 16 fantasy points. His minutes are going to go down now that Harden's on the team. Probably not going to be a guy I really look to, even at 4,300. You can't really prioritize your studs on the slate because you can't play everyone. Don't try and just jam in all these studs that you're left with garbage. Yeah, that is true. You never want to play like just a bunch of studs and then, you're playing guys that might not even play. You always want to prioritize the values first, the good values. So if you want to start off with Thaddeus Young, I could see doing that. If you want to start off with maybe like a Tate for 5,100 or a Gordon for 5,200, like you play those 3 guys, then you got some salary to work with. But I wouldn't just jam in, these guys down here like Wes Iwundu. I mean, Wes Iwundu's been starting recently, but the dude just has no upside for DFS. Like, these aren't guys I'm jamming in to get studs in, especially not on this slate. The mid-range is pretty strong on this slate, so I wouldn't go too crazy on the stud options. I feel like probably one guy above 10K is going to be enough for today's slate. I don't know if you're going to be able to get 2 unless some good value opens up. Deandre Jordan or Willie Cauley-Stein, that's a close one for me. I think I prefer Willie Cauley-Stein, but I do like both. I think those are probably the 2 best cheap centers right now, or DJ and WCS. What do you think about Wiseman? Yeah, I do like Wiseman as well. I like him more on DraftKings where he's a lot cheaper. He's not as cheap on Yahoo. Like on Yahoo, he is $18. I'd much rather play Brolo for $16. I'd rather play DeAndre Jordan for $14. I'd rather play Willie Cauley-Stein for $11. But on DraftKings, Wiseman's really cheap, man. He's down to $4,600. He's been getting more minutes, 26, 27 minutes, and that's really all we can ask for because I expect the dude to be productive when he's on the floor. It's just, how many minutes is Steve Kerr going to give him? That's the big question. But he's definitely in play for sure. He's another good cheap center worth targeting on DraftKings. I owned $3 yesterday off of two 25-cent lineups without you posting a video. It was just my knowledge. Are you proud of me? That's awesome, Max. That's pretty good. I mean, turning two 25-cent lineups into $3 is a pretty damn good ROI. Can you select your team so I can use the same one? I mean, I'm not going to post full lineups, man. I don't do that. Is it safe to fade Wood? I would be jamming in Luca and Giannis. I mean, yeah, on DraftKings, I think Christian Wood, he's a really good play, but he's $8,900. I mean, he's really expensive, so you can definitely get away from him. I'm more so going to have my exposure to Christian Wood on Yahoo, where he's still too cheap, in my opinion. Would you play either Lowry or Van Vliet at all? I mean, they're not priorities for me on this slate. If I had to play one, I think I'd prefer Lowry, but yeah, neither one's a priority for me. Are you on Brunson if THJ is out? I mean, yeah, if THJ is out, then I would be more interested in Brunson. But other than that, I don't plan on being on Brunson tonight. You on Oladipo? Yes, I do like Oladipo. I think Oladipo should benefit greatly with John Wall out. He should be probably the primary point guard when he's on the floor. I mean, I assume they start him at point guard. And I think in practice, he was like playing point guard in practice. So I like Oladipo quite a bit. I think he's going to have some pretty good fantasy value for this Rockets team, right out of the gate. Maybe when John Wall gets healthy and comes back, maybe that'll hurt Oladipo a little bit. But for tonight, with Wall out, I think Oladipo should have a pretty big game. And it's a good matchup against the Bulls, too. You think Mason Jones is a good play? Probably not. Now that Oladipo's on the team, now that Eric Gordon's back, Mason Jones, I don't think he's going to see nearly as many minutes as he has been playing. I have Garrett Temple as a value guard. Would you recommend anyone 4,500 or less over him? So let's take a look. Man, there isn't much down here that I like. I mean, yeah, I'd probably just play Garrett Temple there. I know Garrett Temple's never someone you feel good rostering, but he's at least been getting the minutes. Otto Porter's out, so that makes me feel a little bit better. He continues to get the minutes. It's a good matchup. It's a fast-paced game. Yeah, I guess Garrett Temple would be fine to go with there because there's really no one other than him that I'd rather play. Watch a Wandu go off tonight. Oh, yeah. Anytime I talk negative about somebody, they always go off. So, there you go. Wes Wandu, he's going off tonight because I talk so bad about him. Who's your favorite cheap center play tonight? I mean, it's close between like DeAndre Jordan or James Wiseman. Probably would give the edge to Jordan because I think his minutes are more secure. But, Wiseman definitely has upside if they're going to keep giving him high 20s in minutes. So you can choose between those two. I think Jordan's the safer option. Wiseman maybe has a little bit more upside. It's up to you. How about this lineup? Doncic, Berg, DiVincenzo, KCP, Durant, Gordon, Wood, Young, Wiseman. I mean, that looks pretty good. Only negative, I guess, is maybe KCP, but I don't think there's really anyone else that you can play down there. So I guess he's fine to plug into that build. What do you think about studs in Milwaukee, Brooklyn? I mean, that's where I think the studs are those are the studs I like most. It's from the Milwaukee Brooklyn game. So Harden, Giannis, Kevin Durant. I like all three tonight. Giannis is my favorite though between the three. Good values are always unexpected for me, even though the good values I think do good, they do bad. I mean, yeah, I don't like, unless there's a guy that's cheap that's going to play a lot of minutes. Normally I don't force, bad value plays into my lineups. I'm looking for minutes and I think Thad Young gets more minutes tonight. I think he's a productive player when he does get minutes, so he's a good value to me. Really, there's no one else under 4K, though, that I feel too confident in. You think Brunson will get uptick in minutes, being that he's back-to-back, maybe Luca rests a little? I mean, that's not something that I can really predict, so no. I mean, I assume Luca plays his full minutes. Drew against Harden's defense or lack of on Yahoo. I mean, Drew's fine, but I think there's other guys I'd rather play. Like Drew's $29 at point guard. I'd rather play Oladipo for $27 at shooting guard. Like definitely give me Oladipo over Drew. But between Drew and Lowry and Kobe White, I mean that's close. Honestly, I still think I'd prefer Kobe White over Drew. But I mean, yeah, he's a fine option. I haven't played him much this year. The first time I played Drew all season was when Giannis was out that day. That's the first time I played Drew this entire season. Giannis and Holiday in the same lineup. I mean, you can do that, but if you are doing that, then you probably want to have KD or Harden Because if you're playing Giannis and Holiday and you're assuming both have a big game, probably means the game's high scoring and it's close, which means, KD or Harden could be putting up a big game as well. Wiseman will be lower owned than Jordan probably. I don't think so. I think Wiseman actually might be more popular given his minutes are increasing and he's had 2 good games, whereas Jordan's coming off a bad game. I think Wiseman will probably be more popular than Jordan, but I guess we'll see. Nobody on Milwaukee can guard Harden. I think he can have a better game than KD with Giannis guarding him sometimes. I mean, Drew Holiday's a pretty damn good defender. I think he'll be locked up on Harden, I'm sure. So, I mean, Harden's such a ball-dominant player, such a high-usage player that he can still put up big numbers in a tough matchup. But yeah, Drew's a really good defender. Favorite small forward? It depends what site. If you're talking Yahoo, it's definitely Eric Gordon for me on Yahoo. On Draftkings, it's a lot tougher on Draftkings because small forward's really, really bad. Like, there's nobody that stands out. I think, is Thaddeus Young small forward? Okay, he's not small forward, but I'll say on Draftkings, it might honestly be like Kelly Oubre or Norman Powell. I mean, there's nobody that stands out. Maybe OG, but OG's 6K. Like, honestly, or Oladipo. It would definitely be Oladipo. I forgot he was small forward. So, I guess, yeah, favorite small forward on Yahoo or on Draftkings. If you're paying up, it's probably Oladipo. If you're looking for a cheaper option, it's probably Kelly Oubre. I think Durant and or Harden outscores Giannis. I mean, they definitely could. I always prefer Giannis just because he does so much with the peripherals. I mean, Harden and Durant can obviously rack up peripherals as well, but Giannis has legit triple-double upside every night. So he's always a guy that I'm fine plugging into my lineups because he can just absolutely stuff the stat sheet. Thoughts on Steph tonight? I mean, yeah, Steph's definitely in play. He's going to be lower owned than a lot of these other stud options. So if you're looking for someone in tournaments that's low owned, little late-night hammer, I mean, you could definitely get some exposure to Steph. I'll have him in some lineups, but I don't expect him to be like a core option for me. Garrett Temple still a start with a sprained ankle. I mean, he's probable. He's expected to play, so I'm not worried about that. Hit that like button. My man got over 100 viewers and 59 likes. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in. I appreciate all the likes. Appreciate y'all you tuning in. Going with Luca, Brunson, Wood, and Boucher as my core 4 thoughts. I mean, I like Luca, Wood, and Boucher. I'm not the biggest fan of Brunson. We've already discussed that, but you do you, my man. At the end of the day, it's, you putting together your lineups, not me. So I'm just giving you my thoughts. You can either, ignore what I say or you can take what I say and apply it to your builds. But end of the day, it's you putting the players into your lineup. So McLemore or Temple. I mean, if McLemore starts again, I think I'd prefer him, but I'm assuming he goes back to the bench. So I guess give me Garrett Temple. Van Vliet, Lowry, or Kobe White. Between those 3, give me Kobe White. I like that game so much. The Houston-Chicago game, I'm going to have a ton of exposure to it on both sides. My dummy lineup that I made on Yahoo, it's got 4 Rockets in it and 2 Bulls in it. So I've got 6 players from that game in my dummy lineup right now. I'm pretty heavy on it. Do you like LeBron? I mean, LeBron's probably towards the bottom of my list for this slate. Like, I'd have so many guys ranked ahead of him. Giannis, KD, Harden, Steph, Christian Wood. Like, I just haven't been playing LeBron much this year. I feel like his upside is just, for fantasy, his upside isn't as high as guys like Giannis, KD, Harden, Luca as well. Like, we haven't really seen any big, 60, 70 points games from LeBron. He can do that, basically any night, but not for me, I don't think. James Johnson or Tate. Between those 2, I prefer Tate. I assume Tate continues to start, so if he does, I'd prefer him over James Johnson. Willie Cauley-Stein or Brook Lopez at center. Between those 2, I think I'd go with Brook Lopez, but I have a good amount of interest in both. I'd probably give the edge to Lopez, though. Garrett Temple or Denzel Valentine. I'd probably go with Garrett Temple there because his minutes are a lot higher right now. He's playing way more minutes. Valentine, probably a more productive player, but Temple's going to get close to 30 minutes, so I'd go with him. Do you like having Wendell Carter as your center? Yeah, I don't mind Wendell Carter tonight. He's definitely in play for me. Really, I just want a lot of exposure to that Houston and Chicago game. So Carter, Markkanen, Levine, White, I'm fine with all those guys. Thad Young on the Houston side, Gordon, Oladipo, Tate, Christian Wood, I like. So a lot of guys in that game I'm interested in. What's the best way to approach today's slate? I would say, find a stud that you like, whether it's Luca, Harden, Giannis, KD, Curry. Try and build around them because I think at the end of the night you're going to see one of these 10K and above guys in the winning lineup, whether it's Durant, Giannis, Harden, Luca. I think one of those guys is going off tonight. Me personally, I think it's going to be Giannis. I plan on having the most exposure to Giannis, so I'd probably find a stud to build around. I think you're going to want to be heavy on these Houston guys. Like, Houston still is pretty thin without John Wall, without Daniel House. Like, there's plenty of minutes to go around. There's usage to go around with John Wall out. I think Oladipo is going to soak up a lot of that usage. I think Eric Gordon's going to soak up a lot of that usage. Tate should continue to get good minutes, and he's still affordable. So maybe you want a couple of Houston guys. Thad Young, I think, is a good value for cheap. He's $3,800. Should get more minutes now that Otto Porter's out. You play a couple of Houston guys, Thad Young, favorite stud, then you kind of work from there. That's probably the way I'd go if I was only playing like one lineup. Trey Berg or Garrett Temple. I think Trey Berg gives you more upside, so I'd rather play Trey Berg. Anyone know what's up with the Miami and Detroit game? I have no idea, James. I did not play the early slate, but last I saw, the game was expected to be played, but they weren't going to play it till later tonight at 8 o'clock. Let me see. Heat Pistons planning to play Monday as of now. Game pushed back to 8 o'clock Eastern time to allow for more COVID-19 testing to be processed before the game. They will update, so... Right now, the game's expected to be played, but not until 8 o'clock tonight. Thoughts on Norman Powell? I'm fine with Norman Powell. I think just given how bad small forward is today, I think Powell's definitely someone you can look to for cheap. I wish he was cheaper. I wish he was $4,200, but even at $4,800, he still has upside to pay off this price. We saw him get 28 minutes last game. The minutes are going to fluctuate. Some games he'll get 20 to 22. Some games he'll get 28. Some games he'll get 18. It's just all depending on how he comes out and plays. But if he comes off the bench and he's knocking down shots, Nick Nurse will give him, 26, 28 minutes. At $4,800, I'm fine with him today as a cheap option, especially just because small forward is, not the best position today. Lakers, too many guys to play. Yeah, in terms of the Lakers, I don't have a ton of interest in the Lakers on this slate. You could always play LeBron, you could always play Anthony Davis, but they're not towards the top of my list tonight. James Johnson, Giannis, Temple, or Thad Young, Christian Wood, Drew Holiday. Ooh, that's close. I'd probably go with the second one, Chris. Young, Wood, Holiday, but that's pretty close, man. I think both those sides look pretty good. Is Christian Wood a must-start for you? On this slate where there's so many studs, I don't think he's a must, but he's a really good option. I wish he was cheaper, though. He's $8,900, so at $8,900, you need over 50 Draftkings points from him. And sure, he could do that any night, but probably if I could find the salary, I think I'd rather get up to Giannis, KD, Harden. Even, you can drop down to Chris Boucher, who we haven't really touched on, but Chris Boucher continues to put up monster numbers on a nightly basis. The minutes are there as well. He's getting 30, 32 minutes. Even though he's coming off the bench, they've been playing him, good minutes off the bench. I still like Chris Boucher a lot. I guess that's the only thing that's keeping Christian Wood from being, a great play tonight is that there's other guys I think I'd rather spend for. And there's also guys that are cheaper that I like a lot. I like Christian Wood a lot more on Yahoo where he's way more affordable and he's easier to get in. Can you see Arcidiacono for 3K going off? Probably not. I'm probably not going to play Ryan Arcidiacono. One stud to build around or two studs. It all comes down to your lineup. It all comes down to what value we get. This doesn't feel like a slate where I'm going to be able to really jam in two studs, so you probably just want to go with one. Just all depends on the value that we have. Yeah, and like Vendetta said, there's some good mid-range options today that I like, so yeah, one seems good for now. Do you have any lineups without Luca and Giannis? I haven't started building lineups yet. I don't really do that until 5 or 6 Eastern. Normally a couple hours before lock, that's when I'll start building my lineups. I would assume I'm going to have some without either one. I'll probably have some KD lineups or some Harden lineups. But, I do expect Giannis to be one of my highest owned players tonight. I'm going to jam in as much Giannis as I can, for sure. Because I think he's probably the best stud on the slate, and he's my favorite guy over 10K. Between him, KD, Harden, Luca, Giannis is my favorite. See any questions I missed? Let's see. My boy Tate Moore asking about LeBron. Damn, we got a lot of LeBron questions in here. Any love for PJ Tucker as a flyer? Yeah, I think PJ Tucker is definitely in play. Just given the game environment, like you're gonna have such a high scoring game here. I mean, it's got a 226 total right now, second highest on the slate, I believe, or tied for second highest with the Warriors game. I think it could go over that total. I think you're going to see a high-scoring game here. You got two pretty fast-paced teams. The Bulls, I know, are like towards the top of the league in pace. The Rockets, I can't remember where they're at, but they're usually a fast-paced team as well. Normally I don't like playing PJ Tucker, but in a game like this where it's going to be fast-paced, you could see him luck into a, maybe a double-double. Maybe he gets a couple defensive stats. I don't mind him on the slate. Now, there's other guys I would definitely rather play, but PJ Tucker is for sure viable. Thanks, Noah, for all the good NBA DFS info. Yes, sir, King Carter. You got it, my man. Having trouble finding cheap value. I mean, right now there's some cheap values I like. Thaddeus Young looks pretty good now that Otto Porter's out. I like him at 3,800. I mean, Eric Gordon's 5,200. I like him a lot. Tate, if he starts again, is 5,100. He's someone I'm interested in. Wiseman, if they're going to keep giving him 28 minutes a night, I mean, he's only 4,600. DeAndre Jordan, he's going to start and play probably 26, 28 minutes. He's only 4,800. And there's plenty of cheap options that are viable on the slate, so those are just some guys I'm looking at. You like Patrick Williams from the Bulls? I mean, not on Draftkings. I think he's too expensive on Draftkings. 5,600, like even if Patrick Williams has like 30 fantasy points, which is a really good game from him, like that's still not that great at his salary. If he was cheaper, I'd be more interested, but like for the savings, I'd rather play Thad Young. How do you start your Yahoo lineups, by position or known value? I mean, it really just comes down to, the value normally. Like, if there's a great value play, I kind of start with that and then work from there. Maybe I'll get my favorite stud in. So, like, I'll start with maybe Giannis, Thad Young. Maybe, like, Tate's really cheap on Yahoo. We'll start with him and then kind of work from there. It all depends on the lineup I'm building, though. Like, maybe some lineups I'll go Giannis. I'll have, like, a Giannis Harden lineup. Or maybe some lineups I'll decide, for this one I want to go Harden KD and correlate that way. I just build my lineups. Each lineup I build is a different way. But normally, if there's like a great value, like a lot of times on Yahoo, there's guys that are so cheap that project so well that I'll just start with them in every lineup. Like I've played 100% of guys a lot this year on Yahoo because there's just always guys that are so cheap that project so well there. Thoughts on Wiseman? Yeah, we talked about Wiseman. He's getting the minutes right now. Does that continue? I really have no idea. But if you tell me Wiseman's going to play 28 minutes tonight, I'd have a lot of interest in him at 4,600. But, I have no idea if that happens. He could go back to playing 18 minutes. We don't really know. But the way that his minutes have been trending, I assume he gets about 26 to 28 minutes again, which does make him a good option at 4,600. Draymond Green or DeAndre Jordan. Between those two, I think it's pretty close. I'd probably give the edge to Draymond Green, but I do have some interest in both. Do you play on FanDuel? No, Bobby. Don't play on FanDuel. Just DraftKings and Yahoo for me. Zach LaVine or John Morant? My man, John Morant is not on this slate, so I guess give me Zach LaVine there. I don't know if that's like a season-long question, but even in season-long, I'd probably still take Zach LaVine. Favorite shooting guard on Yahoo? It's probably Victor Oladipo for me. $27. I like him a ton at shooting guard. There's really not a ton of value that I love. I think Trey Berg at $11 looks like a good value, but I expect a lot of my shooting guard exposure to go to Victor Oladipo at $27. Andrew Wiggins a start for you? I'm probably not going to have much Andrew Wiggins. Like I just don't play Andrew Wiggins when the Warriors are fully healthy. I haven't played him at all this season, and I'm probably not going to be playing him tonight. That's just me personally, though. I have 34K left, and I need a guard. Any sleepers? Oh, I'm assuming you mean 3.4K. Ooh, I don't think there's really any guards down here that I'm interested in. Like, it's so tough. Like, none of these guys play enough minutes to where they can really be good plays. I mean, like, Arcidiacono in his first game back, he got 17 minutes, which is, I guess that's not bad. Like, Landry Shamet off the bench, he got 17 minutes. Like, a lot of these guys are just going to play, like, 16 to 18 minutes. You just need them to get hot, like a Bryn Forbes. Like, I'm sure, like, Bryn Forbes could come off the bench and hit 5 threes, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I guess he'd probably be the sleeper that I go with, but I'm not confident in anyone down there. LaVine worth the price? I mean, I think LaVine's definitely worth the price. The upside's for sure there on a nightly basis, especially in a matchup like this against Houston. Should be so fast-paced, should be high-scoring. We've seen in close games this year, you're getting monster minutes from LaVine. He's put up, 50-plus Draftkings points in like almost every close game they've been in, or 40-plus DK points. Like, you just need the game to stay close, and you're probably getting at least 40, 45 DK points from LaVine, if not way more than that. So I have no problems paying $9,500 for him. Is he a top option for me? No, but still in play for sure. PJ, a fine, safe play for 25 DK points or just cash in general. I mean, I wouldn't say he's never safe for 25. I mean, PJ Tucker could play 40 minutes and give you 5 fantasy points. Like, he's never safe for any number. But on this slate, there's not a ton of great standout value, so I think PJ Tucker's fine. But honestly, I'd much rather play Thad Young over PJ Tucker, so give me Thad Young there, assuming you don't already have him. Is Sterling Brown viable? I mean, probably not. Now that Oladipo's on the team, now that Eric Gordon's back, like, Sterling Brown should lose a lot of minutes. He's probably going to come off the bench. He's probably going to play like maybe 16, 18 minutes. By some chance, if he starts, then yeah, he'd be viable, but I don't expect that to happen. So probably going to be off Sterling Brown. Would be cool to see more Yahoo-focused info. I mean, yeah, I try to do a lot more Yahoo because that's the site I like playing on the most. If I could just do Yahoo only, I'd probably do that, but I do play on Draftkings still, and I know people out there love Draftkings is probably the most popular DFS site right now, so I want to give Draftkings info as well, but I do play a lot on Yahoo, and I take pride in the content I provide there. But that's what these streams are for. I can answer, Draftkings specific questions, Yahoo specific questions, just whatever you got. When Brooklyn is at full strength, how do you feel about playing Kyrie, KD, and Harden all together? I mean, I would probably never do that when they're at full strength. I don't think you're ever going to be playing lineups with all three of them together. But I think the big question is, when they're fully healthy, how is that going to affect their fantasy value? Like, are we going to see Kyrie maybe take a hit? Is Harden going to take a hit? Are they all just going to put up monster games every night? Like, we really don't know. It's just like when the first game they play, when they're all fully healthy, I'm probably not going to play any of them. But tonight, given that Kyrie's out, KD, Harden, for sure in play for me. Jones likely to start at point guard for Houston. I wouldn't assume so, Nelson. I think Oladipo or Eric Gordon probably starts at point guard, but I guess we'll see. Like I said earlier, I think their starting lineup's going to be Oladipo, Gordon, Tate, Tucker, and Christian Wood. But if Mason Jones does start again, then yeah, he's definitely in play for sure. Favorite point guard on DraftKings? I mean, if you're not factoring in salary, I mean, it's probably Luca if you're not factoring in salary, but factoring in salary overall, it's probably Eric Gordon for me at $5,200. I like Eric Gordon a lot. Josh Green, a good play with all the Dallas guys out. I mean, Josh Green, I know he started the other day. I don't think he really did anything, though. I mean, he's 3,100. He started, played 32 minutes. He had 9 fantasy points. I mean, I don't want to look too much at the game log, but I don't think Josh Green is that productive of a player on a point-per-minute basis. I don't think he's ever been, so, probably not for me. At least the minutes are there, so that's one thing. Anytime there's guys that are 3,100 that are going to play 30 minutes, that brings them into play. But still, like, Josh Green doesn't seem like he's going to be too productive when he's on the floor, so you might want to temper your expectations. I think like a guy like Thad Young, I don't mind playing at 3,800 because he should get more minutes now that Porter's out, and he's a productive player when he does get minutes. So, yeah, you got 2 positives going for you there. Whereas Green, he probably should play, maybe 30 minutes again, but who knows how productive he is. But, Jalen Brunson is back, so I don't know if he does get 30 minutes again. There's just, I don't know. I'm not on Josh Green personally. Kuzma, Oubre, or Temple. Between those 3, I'd go with Kelly Oubre. Do you like anybody from Houston as a core play? I mean, Houston's got a lot of guys I like. Christian Wood, Oladipo, Eric Gordon. I would say Eric Gordon's probably my favorite when you factor in salary. I think he's the most underpriced out of everyone on Houston. Eric Gordon, that is. Who's the sleeper center? Let's see. A center that's going to be low owned that has upside. I mean, I would say it's James Wiseman, but I don't know. I feel like he's probably going to be popular. I haven't looked like at any ownership projections or what anyone else is saying across the industry, but if Wiseman's going to be low owned, I'd say he's a really good, low-owned option at center, especially if they're going to give him 26, 28 minutes again. Kyrie has to show up first. Personal issues still. No, the personal issues are he's fixed that. Now it's that he has to go through like COVID testing and everything. Once he passes all his COVID tests and he does all that, he'll be available to play. And it seems like they play the Nets play on Wednesday against the Cavs, so I think he's probably going to return for that game. And if he doesn't return Wednesday, then it'll be Friday. So either Wednesday or Friday, Kyrie should be back. Kyle Kuzma, a good play tonight? Probably not. I don't play Kyle Kuzma when the Lakers are fully healthy. Man, like, what are these questions, man? Kyle Kuzma, why would you be playing Kyle Kuzma on this slate? Jesus Christ. Today's centers are a hard pick. I mean, yeah, center's tough. Like, there's a lot of guys that stand out. Christian Wood, I really like. I like Boucher a lot. I think Wendell Carter's a good play. Brook Lopez, Draymond, DJ, Wiseman. There's a lot of guys at center that I like. Oh, man. I mean, like, why are we playing Kyle Kuzma on this slate? What is his price? Kyle Kuzma is $5,500. Like, why are we playing Kyle Kuzma at $5,500 when LeBron and AD are healthy? Why? Don't do it. If Kyle Kuzma scores like 40 DraftKings points tonight, I might go jump off a cliff because then I'll just look like an idiot. But I don't know. Like, there's just some guys I never play, and Kyle Kuzma's one of them. Like, even when LeBron's out or AD's out, like, he still sucks. He never does anything. Even when you feel like he's a good play, it doesn't work. It never works. But yeah, Kuzma is a lot to smash tonight. So now that I just said all that about him, he's going to have a career night. Going to have the best game of his life. The game's going to blow out, and he's going to make like 6 threes in the fourth quarter and have like 40 DraftKings points. So everyone play Kuzma. Right, Lester. The game's going to blow out. Now Kuzma's going to make like 6 threes. He's going to have like 27 points, 14 rebounds, and he's going to have like 50 DraftKings points. You got to do a $20 giveaway if Kuzma goes. I guess I will. I'll come on the stream tomorrow, and if Kuzma had a big game, I'll do some sort of giveaway. But y'all got to remind me because I'll forget. Let's say 35. Or 34.5. So if Kuzma goes over 34.5 fantasy points, so if he has 35 fantasy points, I'll do some sort of giveaway tomorrow on the stream. I'm playing Kuzma because when have the Lakers been healthy? Look at the numbers. I mean, the Lakers, they've been healthy all year. Like, LeBron and AD have been questionable all year, but they've played every game. That's what I mean by healthy. You know, when LeBron and AD are on the floor, like, Kuzma's just not – he just doesn't do anything. I mean, he can knock down threes, but you need him to have, like, one of those games where he knocks down, like, 5 threes. Like, last game he got 13 rebounds. Can we expect Kuzma to get 13 rebounds every game? Probably not. I mean – like, at 5,500, I'm looking for over 30 DraftKings points from Kuzma, and he's only done that once out of his last 10 games. And last game, I mean, he had a double-double in 22 minutes. Can we expect him to have a double-double in 22 minutes? God. I think it'd be totally different if Kuzma was, like, 4K, but when he's 5,500, like, don't play Kyle Kuzma at 5,500. But I will do a giveaway tomorrow. If Kuzma gets 35 DraftKings points or more tonight, I will do a giveaway on tomorrow's stream. But y'all got to remind me. I don't know what kind of giveaway it'll be, but we'll figure it out. Kuzma will score 8 points in the first 2 minutes, then go scoreless for 3 quarters. That is true. That's the Kuzma way. So everyone in the chat needs to be rooting for Kuzma tonight. No one on the Lakers usually smashes. They got so many players. 5,500 Kuzma is the easiest fade. I agree. But some people don't. Yahoo, he's 13. That's why. Okay, yeah, so Tristan, that's a totally different story. You know, on DraftKings, I'm not playing Kyle Kuzma at 5,500. But Yahoo, if he's $13, I could see playing him there for sure. If you would have said Kuzma on Yahoo, I wouldn't have came for your neck. But since he's On DraftKings, there's no shot I'm playing Kuzma on DraftKings. Horton Tucker a better play in 15 minutes on the floor. Yeah, they need to be given whatever minutes Kuzma plays every night, they need to be giving those to THT. So that way he's actually DFS viable. Dude, there's just all this Kuzma stuff. I can't even answer any more questions. I don't see any more about everything's about Kuzma. All right, let's try and flip it. Love for Marketing and Williams from Bulls. I do like Marketing, but we said it earlier, Anchor. I think Patrick Williams is probably too cheap or too expensive on DraftKings for me. I'd rather play Thaddeus Young. So Chris, Thaddeus Young, a good value. I do like Thaddeus Young. I think he's the biggest beneficiary with Otto Porter out. Thad Young, that is. I really like Wood over Siakam. Yeah, I totally agree. I'd take Wood over Siakam as well. Is Wood a must-play, or should I pivot to Siakam to save money? I mean, between those two, I would rather play Christian Wood because I think Christian Wood probably outscores Siakam. Marketing or Boucher, that's pretty close for me. I like both. I think I'd probably prefer Boucher because I think he maybe gives you a little bit more upside, but Marketing's been playing so well. It's a good matchup. I like both those guys. Is Eric Pascal viable with expected blowout? King Carter, I don't really roster guys. Maybe some people do, but I don't roster guys hoping for a blowout. Like, I just kind of play the guys I like, hope the game stays close. If it blows out, then so be it. But I don't want to play guys that need a blowout to hit value, so I'm not on Eric Pascal. But, you do you at the end of the day. I said Porter is out. I don't know who you're talking about, Porter. Wood 9,800 on FanDuel, Boucher 8,100. That's tough. Ooh, yeah, that is tough. I assume they're both power forward, or would they be center? I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. I guess if you have the salary, I'd probably play Wood. But if dropping down to Boucher allows you to upgrade somewhere else, then yeah, I'm fine dropping down to Boucher. How many from one game is too many, like Chicago, Houston? T-Bone, I said it earlier, my dummy lineup on Yahoo right now has 6 guys from that game, so I'm going to be pretty heavy on it. Obviously, things could change from now till lock, but I expect to have a lot of that Houston-Chicago game. Best play at small forward. Richie, if you're playing Yahoo, I think it's Eric Gordon. If you're playing DraftKings, it's probably Oladipo or Kelly Oubre for me. Zach LaVine overpriced or a good pivot from the Nets Bucks? I think LaVine's definitely a good pivot. LaVine's not overpriced right now because he's shown the upside to pay off that $9,500 salary. Is he going to be a core play at $9,500? No, but he's always a guy that has 50 plus upside, 50 plus point upside, especially in a fast-paced game like this one against Houston. How many minutes do you think Oladipo plays? I assume he plays his normal minutes, so 34, 36, whatever he would normally play in a close game. That's how much I expect from Oladipo. Raps drive me nuts. Boucher should be playing. He should be starting and playing like 30 minutes a night. I mean, they've still been giving him good minutes off the bench, but I want him to start so that way the minutes he'd play even more minutes. Like, Boucher is so good on a point per minute basis when it comes to DFS. Like, he just does everything. He knocks down threes, he scores, he grabs rebounds, he blocks shots. Everything you want when you roster someone in fantasy. Oh, yeah, Otto Porter. That's my fault. Yeah, Otto Porter is out. I couldn't remember. I was like, Porter? Thanks, Noah. Good luck. Yeah, good luck to you, T-Bone, as well. Appreciate you tuning in, my man. Why don't you play on FanDuel? I said this before. I play on Yahoo. I play on DraftKings. I've already managed lineups across both those sites, so adding another site to play on, having to manage lineups across 3 sites, plus getting up, content for Patreon, answering questions for Patreon members. It's just a lot. So right now, just try and stick to 2 sites for now. Best play on Yahoo is surely Kyle Kuzma. Yeah. Oh, I got myself into something now. Kyle Kuzma, he's gonna go off tonight. I already know it, and I'm gonna look like an idiot. But even on Yahoo, like he's $12. He's cheap. I'd still play Eric Gordon over him. Like, Eric Gordon's 14. I'd still play Gordon for 14 over Kuzma at 12. Markkanen and Jordan, Wiseman or Green, Brook Lopez on FanDuel. Markkanen and Jordan, Wiseman or Green and Brook Lopez. Ooh. I'd probably go Markkanen and Jordan there, Matt, between those two. Anytime a guy like LaVine is less on FanDuel than DK, you play him. LaVine, 9,300 on FanDuel. Yeah, that's a pretty good price. If he's cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DK, then he's definitely underpriced for sure. Play Oladipo his first game with the Rockets. I think he's a little overpriced. I mean, I don't think he's overpriced, especially since John Wall's out. There's going to be more usage available for Oladipo. I expect him to be chucking. I expect him to have a good amount of assists. He should be the primary ball handler when he's on the floor. I think we'll get a pretty good game from Oladipo, and I expect him to play his normal minutes. I don't think there's going to be like any limitations at all. Is Draymond Green's ownership too high? I don't know what his ownership is, but I know on DraftKings he's pretty cheap. He's 5,200, so it makes sense that he'd be a pretty popular play. Like if he's like 30% owned, then yeah, that might be a little too high. But if he's like 15, I'm fine with that. But Draymond definitely still has a pretty low floor, so if he's going to be really popular, I think it makes sense to pivot elsewhere or to come in underweight. That's facts. I play on Yahoo and FanDuel, no room for DK. Yeah, I mean, some people like playing on a lot of sites. Some people only like playing on one site. It just comes down to your preference. I think 2 sites is pretty good for me, especially when I hand build my lineups. And, like when it comes to NBA, late news comes out all the time. Like news comes out 10, 15 minutes before lock. So having to scramble, fix lineups on 2 sites is already pretty hectic. I couldn't imagine trying to do it on 3 sites. If the Bucks-Nets game reaches the total, you're going to need that game. Yeah, I think that game, you might need to get some exposure to that game anyway. But if it gets to the 239 total, yeah, there's going to be guys that go off in that game. And it's probably going to be the stud guys, Giannis, KD, Harden. All right, guys, it's about 4:30. It's my normal time to wrap up the stream. I normally go live for an hour for those of you that are new here, so I appreciate you all you tuning in for this hour or so. Again, I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. I won't be live at 3:30 tomorrow. Tomorrow's a weird day, so let me pull it up real quick just to confirm, but let me see. Yeah, so there's tomorrow there's only 2 games, and they both start at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So we got a weird day tomorrow, just a 2-game slate with a 9 o'clock Eastern time lock. So I'll still be live tomorrow, but I'll definitely be live later on in the afternoon. Probably not at 3:30, maybe 4:30, maybe 5. I'm not sure yet, but I'll be live again tomorrow. We'll be able to discuss Kyle Kuzma, so don't forget about that. If Kyle Kuzma scores 35 DraftKings points or more, I will do some sort of giveaway tomorrow, so be sure to tune into the stream tomorrow. Not sure what I'm going to give away if I have to, but we will decide then. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate all you tuning in. Best of luck tonight. Hope you win some money. Good luck, guys. I appreciate you tuning in.